Hello, hello, fabulous darlings.
Oh, brother. Wendy, Moira, Angela, darling?
I had this dress for too long without wearing it, without having any reason to wear it. Had to. Just had to.
And I was going to wear a outfit made entirely of leaves, but I decided not to do that for the sake of...
Everyone.
Yes, public safety in general. We just finished watching the 2003 version of...
Peter Pan.
Now, you may not know that this version even exists because it came and went, and even though it got really good critical praise, no one went to see it. We had seen Hook. That did very well, but I think at that point, between that movie and this movie, Disney had like some animated remakes, or there was just too much
Peter Pan
familiarity. Yeah. People just skipped right past this one.
It's a shame.
It's a shame because
that movie was great.
This is fantastic, and I swear that if they released this in theaters this year without saying that it was made that long ago, it would do extremely well. Peter Pan is a boy who never grows up,
yes.
And he selects Wendy and her two brothers to go on an adventure in Neverland, and they fight pirates. They...
Indoctor with mermaids.
Yes.
They have pixies and fairies and stuff.
A giant crocodile is after Captain Hook. But stylistically, it was just popping.
On
everything.
Point, yeah. Even the thing with the teddy bear.
Yeah.
Just to have that still consistent sense of childhood wonder that this shaman lady was just like, and I have healed your teddy. And it's just like, oh, that's so cute. And they had a really good mix, a real nice balance, good cocktail of absolutely terrifying and hilarious.
Yeah.
They had just enough to where it was believable how scary Hook was, but then it cuts to Smee.
It's all a bit tragic, really, isn't it?
And he just kills it. You can laugh, and you can be terrified, and you can cry. Like, this movie has it all.
It truly is amazing, and you could just tell how much fun that they had making this.
Exactly.
The kids were having a blast. You could tell the adults were having a blast.
Yeah.
So the point of the movie is that Wendy is going to be coming of age.
Yes.
And she's not all that interested in it. Sorry, our cat is yet again trying to break in to where we're filming.
I don't know what he's scratching at. It's all metal. He's determined.
We really feel like our cat is turning into like a raptor from Jurassic Park. It's just driving us nuts. Anyway, Wendy is being confronted with her imminent
adulthood.
Emerging adolescence, as we should say.
Yes.
And she is not sure what to make of this.
It's like, what? No, I haven't even finished childhood yet.
And so her journey to Neverland is really her last adventure before she starts maturing.
Yes.
Into a fine young lady. But that adventure is also talking about Peter Pan. And what I really liked about this was that it truly got into both Peter Pan and Wendy's journey and their arc. Because Peter Pan is the boy who will never grow up, but we understand why.
Yeah.
And there's great moments in there where he is confronted with the possibilities of growing up and the exciting possibilities of what could follow. And he's conflicted and confused, and he just doesn't know what to do with himself. And they cast some really good-looking kids for this. I mean, Peter Pan, he's a cute little boy.
Yes.
And Wendy, she's got this great smile.
Yeah, she reminds me of those girls from Narnia. They're all just cute kids. Like, holy crap.
Yeah.
They're adorable.
They are. And it's not cheesy put-on cuteness. It's genuine cuteness. So let's gush on some other things. So the production design is fantastic. They use practical sets.
Yes.
And the pirate ship is great.
Yes.
The Lost Boys hideout is great.
Yeah, like they even made like the house around her be something that you can physically interact with. Like, that's wonderful. I was thinking of this when they were first flying into Neverland. A lot of really inspirational movies that mix fantasy and reality, they tend to have physical actors interacting with art. That's what a lot of the stuff was in the sky, was that it was art. The planets rushing past, the clouds, like that was all just art that they were playing with.
They mirrored that too in the kid's bedroom, because the
Yeah.
entire ceiling was clouds.
Yeah.
That's to kind of show that there is a link between the real world that they're in and the
Yeah.
fantasy world that they're going to.
And it's wonderful that he's pretty much always in the sky.
Yeah.
And that's kind of, I didn't even mean to say that, but it's a good show of his mental state. Like, he's always wanting to be head in the clouds, you know?
Yeah, as far as the computer graphics and compositing and all, combining the elements with CG, one of the great moments in it, kind of, I forgot about. Wendy gets to peer into the land of the fairies, and she just sees this simple yet beautiful dance between, I guess, the fairy king and the fairy queen.
The little detail that they put into it, and like the flowing dress, and that it's all just, they almost look like they're in water, the way that they're floating. It's
I'm
just,
telling you, the care and detail that they put into every facet of this production is unmatched. If you watch any not so great thing recently and compare it to this, you'll just be astonished that so much work was done in this.
Yeah.
Another thing that really stood out to me is something called camera blocking. And what that is how you arrange characters in the frame when they appear in the frame, when the camera moves to them, when they show up. And there's so many great moments in it. My absolute favorite is when Hook is looking for Wendy.
Yeah.
And she gets revealed because of a flash of lightning.
yeah, that was really cool.
And it's just like, oh, you get it, you know?
One of the things that I've heard this before, but I don't remember where, is that a good indication that you have good blocking in movies is if you can just take a still from anywhere in it and you know which part of the movie it's in.
I know that we talk about Painterly, but this one they used light and color so much that every frame was like an art frame. Like you could put frames of this movie on your wall.
That's
and,
true.
And it looks so
It would look
cool.
like a piece of artwork in and of itself.
It does.
Yeah. I was thinking about that when it was actually at the beginning when it showed Wendy on one side, the shadow in the middle, and Peter Pan on the other.
Yeah.
And you can look at all three of them and get something out of it.
Director P.J. Hogan, who's an Australian film director, I think this was his best, even though it was underrated and a lot of people didn't see it. Like he just knows how to move those actors and carry that energy.
Yeah.
The cinematographer is astounding. Like he just did such a good job. I
Yeah.
love his use of color. I
Yeah.
mean, this movie is just vibrant and alive.
Yeah.
It's so cool. And it wasn't meta. It wasn't deconstructing.
Yes, yeah.
It stayed with it. You know, you still had voiceover at touch points during the movie.
Yeah.
To remind you, if you didn't already know, that it is a fairy tale.
Yeah.
But as before, he saw Mrs. Darling in her chair by the window, her eyes tired with searching the heavens.
I forgot that it was a fairy tale until the voice reminded me.
Yeah.
And it was just like, oh, I'm so in the story. Right, it's a fairy tale.
Right.
And then, like,
But
I'm
it's just-
sitting back
it's got
down
such
like a kid.
youthful
Yeah.
energy, and there's passion in it.
Yeah.
And it's an adventure that little kids would just love to be on, and parents could enjoy it because they would remember their dreams.
Yeah.
But it valued wonderful things. It valued the importance of growing up. It valued the importance of family and having a parent, or if you're blessed enough, parents to be there for you.
Yeah, and to love them. Like, one of the things that they did in this movie was that the mother and the father would not allow the window to be closed because they wanted, metaphorically, that door to be opened for them.
Yeah.
That they would always be able to come back home.
And that is in the original novel, but they not only honored the source material, but they loved it.
Yeah.
And you could tell. It's just
It's
so
just-
fun.
It's Peter Pan.
It's
just Peter
It's
Pan.
just pure fun. Man, I have not had this much fun in ages in a movie that I have seen because, I don't know, it's just so great. I mean, there are flaws. If you want
Yeah.
to pick them apart, you can. But it is a fairy tale, but it's a fairy tale done well. Disney could not touch anything this joyful.
Yeah, put the writers through a training program called Classic Disney.
You know, but we're not going to focus on that.
Yeah, whatever.
This movie just abounds with joy.
It does. If you're looking for joy, specifically childhood wonder, this movie's got it. It is worth the watch. More than worth the watch.
We feel like we've been sitting on this hidden gem for years. It's one of our absolute favorites. Even if you don't love it as much as we do, I know that you're going to appreciate all the art I know that you're going to appreciate all of the artistic integrity of it.
Yeah.
The work that's went into it, the cinematographer.
The writing.
The writing.
Yeah.
They had 2 editors on this. One of them was Michael Kahn, who is Spielberg's editor. I mean, these are not people who don't know what they're doing. These are established artists.
I told you about this, and it's just a very small detail that I don't know why my child brain held on to so strongly, but Hook was like a terrifying figure, obviously, especially with his stark eyes, but there was a moment where his eyes were not so stark, and it's just from a lighting choice that I don't even know if they did this on purpose, but they had a very soft light that ended up shining at the very center of his pupil, where you couldn't see it. You couldn't connect with him. You knew that he was a savage, terrifying person. And it wasn't even from his pupils being like super small, it was that they were gone. That, I don't know why that stuck with me. I finally remembered because we watched this movie.
That's incredible. Like, he really lived in this character. He relished it.
Yes,
and I gotta make sure to get the name right. Jason Isaacs. Okay, so Jason Isaacs plays not only Hook, but also Wendy's dad. Same actor. Yeah, her dad. Same actor. Played Hook as well. You didn't know that?
No, I didn't. I had no clue. Those were 2 different people. Oh my gosh, that is amazing acting. I would not be able to tell. I genuinely thought those were 2 different people.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
And that just speaks to how good of an actor Jason Isaacs is. And I know you know who Jason Isaacs is in another fantasy series. He played the Elder Malfoy in Harry Potter.
Dang, how do I not know about this guy? I did not know his name up until this point.
Yeah, he's astoundingly
He's great.
good.
Holy crap.
He can play sniveling evil so well. Think about this. This is yet another example of a fantasy world that's relaying the real life character arc that's going through in actual reality. One of our other videos talks about the never-ending story, and that's dealing with this little boy and all of his issues.
Yeah.
But the fantasy world kind of
reflects
that.
Yeah.
In this one, it's all about leaving the childish things behind and becoming, but it's having one last great adventure.
Yeah.
These stories speak to children, they speak to adults. They're illustrating these transitions in life where you go from your formative years to when you're kind of making your own path.
Yeah.
You know, because I remember very clearly being a kid and just running around and being crazy and enjoying myself and making forts.
Yeah.
But then there was a point where it's just like, ooh, girls. I'm married. The kiss of a girl that you love will
make you fly.
Yeah. It will. And
I like that it was just like, Pan, you're pink.
it just honors that. There's this part of human nature where you're a little boy and you don't know that that's something that you will be very interested in. Just that moment will make you... The thing about it is that it's a natural part of life, but they did it innocently.
They did.
It wasn't gross.
It was a kiss.
And that kiss meant something more than it did, and that signaled that you were growing, and that's a universal thing that all of us can connect to.
Yeah, and it's not wanting anything much more than a kiss.
No, and it's celebrated here, and that's what I love about it. It's if you've never seen it, again, put that phone down. Pay attention, just enjoy, because it is so much fun.
Yeah, just have a family meeting of phones on the table, movie time.
Yeah, that's our recommendation. Please check it out.
Yeah, I couldn't stop staring at it this whole time you were talking, and I'm just like, yee.
So if there are movies like this that jazz you up, we want to know about them, because we don't know all the movies that are out there that do this for people. This is one of them for us. Who knows what yours would be?
We would love for more people to be inspired.
Yeah, so thank you very much for watching. We'll see you next time.
Farewell.
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 Oh man, I could talk so much about the things that inspire me about it. What part of my aesthetic for movies that I want to make is that I do want to have color be such an important part of it.
Yeah.
I don't know why it is. It might be because I like comic books so much, but I just think that you go to a movie, most of the time you go to the movies for an escape. Yeah, but the use of color in this And you could say, oh, it's too much on the nose. It's
Yeah.
great. It's fun. Like, they use color throughout.
There's not a drab moment. I wish I had that skill of, like, figuring out how the camera would move. I recognize the beauty in it,
Yeah.
and I recognize the impact of it when it's used. I just don't know how to do it.
Well, there's ways that you do it, and I've studied this a little bit.
You have to, like, send me some of the books or lessons that you had on, like, camera movement and stuff, because that would very much interest me.
But again, that's the craft of filmmaking. It's when you're using all the tools to tell the story. Yeah, one thing we didn't talk about was how unique Tinkerbell is in this.
Yeah.
I know that she was a bit of a kind of a cute nuisance in the Disney version.
Yeah. This one was, like, mean,
In this one,
savage.
she was a mean brat.
Yes.
You know, but when she dies,
Yeah.
you know, the movie stops and takes more than a moment on that.
Yeah.
And when Peter Pan starts saying, I do believe in fairies, they pump up that moment where he says, I do believe in fairies. It starts infecting everyone, and
Yeah.
they're all doing it, and it just becomes this kind of...
I do believe in fairies. I do.
Yeah.
crescendo where it's just like, yes! I
Yes.
don't know, it's just...
And I found it so beautiful that he didn't say it once, and nobody said it once. It was chanted. It takes a lot more positive to make up for a negative in your mind. It takes one time for someone to say, I don't believe in fairies, to kill a fairy. It takes so much chanting to bring one back.
Yeah, I mean, I think of times that are hard, that seem bleak or hopeless, and people start singing.
Yeah.
That's what I kind of took from that. It's like, I'm going to hold on to my belief, and I'm not just going to hold on to my belief. I'm going to sing about it. And I'm not just going to sing alone. I'm going to sing with other people. And we're not going to sing quietly. We're going to sing loud. Basically singing in defiance of the bad thing, in trust for the good thing. But if you just embrace more than your inner child, if you remember that you were a child.
Yeah.
But also, if you just want to tell stories that are fun, whatever movies I make, even if they're dramatic movies, I want to make movies that hopefully people will want to see more than once.
Yeah.
Being part of creating and telling stories, you can encourage other people with that hope, and then maybe they will be inspired to tell their stories, and we can all just, I don't know, help people get to that point where you're not dreading the next day, you're excited for the opportunity. Well, one thing's for sure, that movie and Mountain Dew really worked for me.
You're pumped.
I am pumped.